So my dad bought this laptop, and he said to me, "Hey, Sonny, I believe that this Ryzen 4700U will beat even your i7 1087.5H." And I said, okay, that could be an interesting video to make, until I did the Cinebench score, that is. And as soon as I did, the Ryzen started crying because it got less than half of what my Intel got. That said, it has a very, very respectable CPU, and we're going to get into the specs of this machine and what I think it's used for right now. Join the Foxden Discord down below. So, this little PC right here has a 4700U in it, which we both thought, I generally thought that this was going to be a competitor to my Intel because we watched Linus Tech Tips videos, and there are different tiers of an i7, and on the lower end i7s, this thing completely dominated. But one thing we forgot was that this is an Ultrabook, so it didn't thermal throttle. It did go to about 91 degrees. But the problem is the reason why Intel usually gets beat by Ryzen is because Intel thermal throttles to the max. However, in my chassis, that wasn't the case because my Intel doesn't throttle when all the fans are on. So, if you aren't a super hardcore gamer, this should totally be for you. That said, this is not a strict review of this laptop. I will not be going over anything externally because this is a 2-in-1, but as you can probably tell, the touchscreen doesn't quite work. We got a faulty laptop in which the touchscreen doesn't work and the trackpad doesn't work, and I swear to God my dad almost switched to Apple as soon as he found that out because the man is an Apple fanboy. And obviously this leaves a bad taste in anybody's mouth when you get a faulty system, so I don't blame him. It only is a 60 hertz display. Yeah, it has 99% RGB coverage, so if you're doing Photoshop or video editing and you're just, not going for movie production, then this absolutely is a fantastic screen. It is only 60 hertz, which is a bit of a disappointment, but the colors are fantastic. This is the same monitor that they use for their Spectre series, which with the i7s that do get beaten out by this. So like Linus said, they kind of killed their own product line because the Spectres are being outperformed by the cheaper options that Intel has to offer, the Envy series. So the 4700U, it also has integrated graphics. So here's what I'm thinking that this laptop is for. This laptop is for somebody who isn't completely invested in gaming, maybe wants to do some light gaming here and there on the side, has to use Photoshop or Premiere or something like that for school, or their job in general. If your job is very processor heavy, then I absolutely think that this would be a fantastic choice because this, although it is not as good as modern day i7s, this beat out my daily driver until this year, which was an i7 7700K. This tiny little laptop here beats out a full fat desktop CPU that I still recommend to this day for video editing. So if you have any sort of video editing or photo editing needs, this thing will chug right through it. And although the fans are audible, I'll tell you, they're not audible compared to my other laptop. When this laptop over here, that's off frame, is in beast mode, you'll have to wear headphones that have sound canceling pretty much if you don't want to hear the fans at all. Whereas this laptop, even when it's running Cinebench, isn't super loud, like it's completely tolerable. So with that said, we're gonna try some light gaming because this is a gaming oriented channel. Resolution is 1600 by 900. But the display is 1920 by 1080 if I'm not wrong. Yeah, the display is 1920 by 1080, so I don't know why it's playing in 1600 by 900. Okay, well, we'll do it by 1600 by 900. Everything is set to high quality. Yes, I don't play Rocket League at all. I play it on Xbox One X when I do play it. So I'm not going to hook up a controller to this, although it does have Bluetooth connectivity, which is always a huge plus, which means that you can hook up an Xbox controller or a PS4 controller without needing an external dongle. You can use wireless headphones with it. We're going to 1v1 somebody, and we're going to try to win using WASD Rocket League controls, and everybody's going to get mad at me in the process. Oops, I think I fucked up. I shift tabbed at the wrong time. Winner by forfeit! And with high quality at 1600 by 900, oh gosh, this is really hard to control without a controller. We're seeing 32 FPS, 37, 38. So we're in the range of 30. However, I did just get a stutter right there, which is not optimal. How do you boost in this game? Oh, it's keyboard. Maybe if they just optimize the buttons better. Like, maybe if I change settings, I have a feeling this wouldn't be unplayable on keyboard and mouse. Despite my absolutely fantastic skill, clearly they matched me with a player who has the amount of skill that I have, though, because that's not the way to do it. I mean, in a game like Rocket League, unless you're really going for the professionals, if you just want to play for a minute, you know, in between classes or something like that, 39 FPS is completely playable. And I'm sure once we turn the settings down from high quality to normal, we will see about 60, which with everything on the lowest settings possible, 50 FPS really is not that bad. Completely playable. Feels a little bit lifeless compared to ultra settings, but I mean, generally it's up to you. I would prefer the responsiveness of 60 FPS when actually using a controller than I would perhaps better settings. That said, let's forfeit. Let's do Minecraft next, because this game can pretty much run on anything. I mean, if it can run on a GT 710, it should be able to run on these graphics. And we do have OBS running in the background, so see maybe 5 or 10 more FPS depending on the game that you're playing. So Rocket League would probably be at 60, somewhere around there. But when you're using 8 cores already, I don't think there's going to be that much of an FPS difference, whether you're using it or not. And why did the backlight stop working? The backlight's like an awesome part of this keyboard. The keyboard's okay. Again, this isn't a full review. I want to do a full review once we get it. But the keyboard, for being a membrane keyboard, is okay. It has a very dull sound, but genuinely, it's not much quieter than a mechanical keyboard. It's just a different sound. So like, if you actually are typing on this thing, like let's say, you know, YouTube, maybe don't expect to be completely silent. Generally, I mean, the key stabilization is perfect, and it's got a good amount of travel as well. So there's no imbalanced keys anywhere, even the bigger keys like the space bar. Tab, shift, all standard size, which is great. I love this little sidebar up here. Instead of getting rid of all the F12 key and stuff like that, they're just smaller. And they give you all sorts of different options. So, I mean, I would not be missing out on anything just using this laptop. That said, you can definitely tell, I think that this is just a common trope. It's different for my laptop compared to this one because mine is for gaming, in which they make sure to keep WASD cool because that's where you're going to be spending most of your time. But this laptop, on the other hand, if you were to keep your hand on this, it would get uncomfortable. Like, this is, oh, up here is extremely hot, so don't put your hand up there. Even on the keys, you're seeing like warm. Like you're talking like my hands are sweaty and ruining this laptop because of how sweaty I am. We still have the nice stickers on here. I'm not gonna get rid of those because obviously my dad's gonna return this. I don't think that it's the retailer's fault. We did get it from a retailer instead of just straight from the website because it was on sale. This model, after taxes, buying from a store that uses key cards to get in, like membership cards, that isn't Sam's Club. It was $799 without tax. After tax in Colorado, it was $845. So $850 for an 8-core processor. That's better than a 7700K. You know, considering the performance, they could have beefed up the graphics a little bit. Here's the thing, and obviously this isn't for gamers, and this is coming from a gamer. But if you look up, like, let's go to Micro Center. I'm fortunate enough to have a Micro Center within driving distance from me. 79999. Core Intel i7 9750H with a GeForce 1650 Ti. I'm gonna tell Dad about this. Let's see, 9750H. Oh, it's a 6-core. Still, let me tell you why I'd recommend this one instead. Because on gaming laptops like this, it's thicker for sure. You're not looking at an Ultrabook. You're looking at even bigger than my laptop. But it is still thin enough. And if you're willing to get past the gamery aesthetic, chances are you'll be able to take off the bottom and swap out RAM. A lot of gaming PCs do that. So maybe go for that one instead if you're willing to sacrifice for 6 cores, but you want to play games. If you're a gamer, no question, get that one instead right now. If it's $800 where you live, then get that one, no doubt, if you play games. All right, let's play some Minecraft. I'm sure that this is what my dad plays all the time. So with fancy settings, with fancy clouds and everything like that, we're seeing 54, 40 FPS depending on where you are. Minecraft is a game that varies frame rate a lot. Like if you're punching a tree, you're gonna get your max frame rate out of this thing. But just looking out in the horizon, like looking out over here, let's just take a nice little look at all the beautiful things we have to see. We go down to 56, 42, and then ooh, moving the mouse is always fun. So there are a few frame dips that are actually noticeable. I wouldn't suggest turning VSync on. We got 16 stone planks, we'll build a house. Very playable, there's no doubt about that. I mean, you could turn the settings down a little bit. Oof, it's unplayable with auto jump on. But if you were to turn even like fancy clouds off or something like that, you would see 60 FPS constantly. You can apply as needed, but even with the max settings, it's not bad. Turn auto jump off for the sake of your own sanity, though. I'll tell you that much. And then finally, we're gonna do Counter-Strike. What is nice about this machine is the fact that it does have an SSD in it. It's only 512 gigs. Luckily, the SSD is upgradable. The one thing that really makes this a hard sell for me is the fact that the RAM is soldered on. You're only getting 8 gigs of RAM, so if you're looking to play any game in the future, or fuck, since you have 8 cores in this system. This is an 8-core laptop. And you have the audacity to put in 8 gigabytes without any sort of upgrade. HP, I don't care that you changed your fucking logo. It's bullshit. Okay, so even with everything on the lowest settings possible, it's not playable. Okay, so I wouldn't even consider this for light gaming, to be completely honest with you. If you can't run CSGO at 60 FPS, and you can't run Minecraft at 60 FPS, then this is not meant for it. We'll turn it down to 720p, clearly. Okay, 720p is definitely the way to go. Maybe I'll reconsider my statement saying that this isn't for light gaming, because generally, 720p, I mean, we're seeing above the screen's refresh rate. I'm still seeing a lot of stutter. And I should have FreeSync enabled. That said, 720p makes it playable. If you're not looking to get super competitive or get out of Silver 1, oh, the stutter's awful. I can't recommend it. I'm sorry, I cannot recommend it. Final verdict on the game test. Fucking unplayable. If you can't run CSGO or Minecraft, then you're not going to be able to do very much with this graphics card. And I was going to run Modern Warfare, but to be completely honest, do we really need to see that? Now, one thing that I do think you could actually use this for is like video calls. Honestly, I wish that my camera was at this angle on my laptop. Then perhaps I wouldn't need to bring a camera everywhere I needed to go. But I mean, for Zoom calls, this is perfectly adequate. You're seeing a lot of film grain. The lighting is generally pretty good in here, so that's bad, but it's at least twice as good as the camera I have on my $2,000 laptop, because it's, first of all, on position alone, because this one isn't a nose cam, it's actually on the top bezel, but also the quality is a lot better, so that's great. And here's what the microphone sounds like, for those of you interested in that. I don't know, how does it sound? I can't tell. Well, my main camera died, so I guess I'll say goodbye on here. But first, I want to say the microphone quality is really good, so that's awesome. Good job. Would I recommend this? Yes. If you have a job that requires 8 cores, if you want to do video editing or you want to do Photoshop, there was a time in high school where I didn't have a laptop at the time, which sucks, so I'd have to use my phone for Photoshop. Pretty much I would use Photoshop Express if I missed a thumbnail that day. So if you want to have something, if you are on the go and you need to have a decent processor, then I would absolutely recommend this. That said, if you're more of a gamer and you can drop 2 of these cores, then go for the other one that I saw. Just look up gaming laptops and go in the $800 range. You should be able to find like 1650s, which will just absolutely destroy. Then if you can get with an i7 9750H, and you're a gamer, I would absolutely recommend that, especially if the RAM isn't soldered on. That's a huge killing blow for me. And on top of that, I just don't know if you're getting the entire value if you're paying even $800. It's a great machine. It's just maybe a little overpriced. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, drop a like down below. Leave a dislike if you didn't. It still counts as engagement for me. Leave comments that are friendly. But, of course, I always accept criticism as well, as long as it's constructive. And please, Buy yourself something nice.